There it is in place. Just a matter of fitting it now. The centre height adjustment was pretty much as I'd hoped. It all sits really well. I really went for the A size because this distance across the tool post holder was 74mm, and so was my top slide, 74mm wide. I now need to either adjust the bolt that comes through the top slide to hold the tool post down, or I need to machine out the inside of the tool post to take the bolt. I'm going to scratch my head about that for a little bit. I'll show you the bolt, and then you can scratch your head too, and by the time you've done that, I'll have a solution. Here's the bolt. Goes through the top slide and needs to go through there and then tighten down on the top. This is 24mm in diameter, and this is about 20mm. So I've got a couple of choices, and I'll disassemble this and show you what we can do. This plate just comes off the top. Open up the spring, and here it is. So the other videos I've seen online, people machine this out to that depth and let it come through like this. For me, then I'd have to extend the thread on the top. Not really sure what I'll do, but I'll get sorted. My first attempt might be to make another one of these, although I assume that's hardened, and then that'll be a problem. And it's held in place by an offset screw, and I'm not really sure how to do that. But I'm going to have a go, and we'll get this to fit somehow. It's going to work. Okay, the first part of the job of fitting the tool post is done. This is the shaft that comes out of the top slide to hold the original tool post. And it measures exactly 5/8. Weird. And then the thread is 5/8 Whitworth, imperial thread. Bizarre, but that's what it is. So I had a 5/8 die, ran the die over it and extended the thread down so that it'll sit inside and the nut will tighten up on the new tool post that I've got. Trouble was 5/8, and this was 15mm. So I bit down hard and decided I'd drill into the parts I've just bought that were brand new. But that seems to be what everybody does online when I've looked at fitting these things. And that's certainly what I did when I did the original tool post. Changed over to a quick change tool post on the little lathe I've got. So, bored this out, 5/8 bit, tiny chamfer on each side, and a clean up with a little bit of emery cloth. It sits over neat as. I don't have reamers, so the fit is the fit. I'm pretty happy with it. It's a good outcome. Next job is to, I'll just take this apart, is to use a boring bar and to expand this hole. This hole is, let's come back to metric, this hole is just on 20mm, like 19.979, yeah, something like that, 1997. I'm calling it 20mm. It needs to sit down over this wider piece. This wider piece is 24mm, 24.04, 24, it's 24mm. Depends on where you turn it and how you mess with it. But it's 24mm. So I've decided I'm going to chuck up this brand new piece that I've got and use a boring bar and let 4mm out of it to that depth. And that depth is 22mm. So I'm going to have a go at that. I'm going to do that off camera and just get that done. I don't think that's a big deal. The decisions I made were I was going to make a new one, but then I really couldn't offset the thread, and this just seems like the logical thing. I'm not destroying the lathe for the sake of a tool post, because the lathe inevitably is worth more than the tool post. Even though, you know, as I say, I got about $500 in this. I think letting out this piece is the better way to do it. Then I'll all sit down over the top and I'll all button down and be in the right place. Let's hope I'm right. If I'm not, it was an expensive outcome. So here's the setup I've gone for. That's a 20mm hole in the middle. Needs to be 24mm. Needs to be 22mm deep. So I've put a boring bar in and I've shortened the boring bar up as much as I can. And then for me, for my first few cuts, I've marked the boring bar of how deep I want to go. So that I don't overcut. I don't want to do that. Not that I think it'll make a huge difference. So I'm going to put you down and bring you back after I've had a few cuts at this, and then we'll start measuring properly. Okay, I'm about halfway through. I'm just shy of 22mm, taking a series of really fine cuts and even a spring pass in between, just to make sure that I'm boring the hole straight and that it's working right. My depth is about right. I'm about 1/2 mil over the depth I want. I don't think it's critical, but I do want it to be as firm a fit as I can. Bring you back when I'm finished. Well, I've got it. I'm right on it. There's no movement. Maybe the tiniest bit. I mean, again, the little lathe is not as precise as you'd like, but the hole's 22mm deep. It's going to clear, so that works well. It fits really well. There's not really any movement, and I'm hoping everything tightens down on top of the lathe really well. I took a series of 1/4 to 1/2 mil cuts and patiently worked away at it, taking spring passes in between. Spring passes just because the bar flexes a little bit. I think this is going to tighten down really good. I certainly don't want any movement in the tool post. It was a problem before. I don't need the same problem again. Overall, I'm really happy. It was an anxiety-riddled cut, but there's no cutter's remorse, as I said in a previous video. So let's hope that all of this just goes together on the tool post really well. I'll bring you in and show you how I go. Okay, so here's the old tool post. This is how it sat on and went down like that. Large washer over the top and screwed on with this handle. Now the tool post is fine and it's a rigid thing and it cleaned up really beautifully, but taking tools in and out of here is just a pain in the bottom, and I suppose you already all know that. So for my money, that had to go. So this is the original piece. All I did was extend the thread down, and if you look closely you can see where the new thread is cut. So we'll just clean this up. So this is the part of the Multifix or the Euro or whatever people call it. So it fits down really well. Now over the original shaft, and this piece fits over the top just like that. Then on top of that there is the plate, and the plate sits like that, and then there's a little indicator and that sits over the top there. So all that sits there. Now I don't realistically expect this to screw down, to be honest, and I think I'll just use a nut. I think I'll run out of thread, and indeed I have, so that's okay. So I'll have to get to the hardware store. I'll do that with Savo and get a nut to hold that down, because we should be able to just slide this in place now. Now you do have to line the splines up the first time and get it right. There we go. So that locks in place, and then all you do is push the cam lever forward and it holds it all in place. So I'm going to get a nut to tighten down onto here, and perhaps a washer. Perhaps I could even use the washer off here. A bit big, looks a bit daggy. But there it is in place, and hopefully when I've put all that back in, that's right on centre height, just how I left it before. I'm going to call that a success. It needs a nut. I'm loath to shorten that because then you couldn't put the original tool post back on it.
So I might just leave that high. It'll look a bit daggy, but I don't really want to ruin it so the original tool post couldn't go back on. I'm pretty happy with that. I must say I had a bit of anxiety over hacking into a part you've just bought, but all the videos I've watched suggest that that's the way you have to do it. So, well, there's the finished outcome. Have to say, pretty pleased about it. It works pretty much as it should. There's the cam lock. Undo it, comes off. This bit remains stationary. Now I've left the height of the tool post shaft, and I just machined down a connector nut or a tube nut, depending on what school you went to, so that I can't catch my hand or my arm on the top of that threaded piece. So I've left it flush at the top. It looks a bit odd, but certainly works the purpose. The idea is you can then rotate the outer piece and move your tool round to wherever you want in those 9-degree increments. A little bit of trial and error for me to get used to using one. Never used one before, but pretty happy with how it all lines up. Go through, get some tools in now and set them up all on center height like that one, and hopefully a good outcome. Bit of tidying up to do around the lathe and the bench, but all in all, really happy, good outcome. Multifix tool post installed, good result.
Well, that's the Multifix tool post installed. Pretty happy with it. People call them Euro posts, Rotor, AXA, Haas, Enco, a whole range of things. This is a Chinese copy of the original that was made in Switzerland. All in all, it was a great outcome. To the people at assetplant.com. I went to their storefront, saw Trish, she helped me, showed me the range of these, and it was really easy once I had it in my hand and I could see what I was buying. Online, I just couldn't get a grip of it. I wasn't sure enough about what I was doing to lash out and spend the money. So thanks to the people there at Asset Plant and Machinery in Dandenong, they were great. I didn't get any money out of it. That's not what this is about. But go and see people. I've been to Hare and Forbes out that way, been to these people now. She gave me a full colour catalogue, marked the cutting tips, marked the tools that I'd bought, marked the parting off blades that I need for the future. They're all really good things to have. Can't emphasise enough, it was great to be able to go, see someone, talk to them, get advice, buy the part and leave the store with it in your hand. It was a great outcome. I hope that the lathe and the tool post is a roaring success. I'm pretty excited. That's it from the shed. Cheers. Have a good one.